Suzuki community. It's Maya at Zuk's Off-Road. I get a lot of tech calls for what to do with a selector. Selector is what you might call a hub, because there's a couple of hubs on the Samurai. What I've got going here is I got the brand new AISIN, so I'll be able to show you how they go together, because it seems like you have the capacity to take them apart, and then you guys call me and you gals call me and go, can't put them back together. So I've already disassembled this one. This is a new style, and so I'm also going to talk about the old style because most of them are going to be the old style. Very, very similar. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about AISIN, the world's best locking selector. This is what locks your front wheels to your axle shafts. So we're going to discuss a few things there, so I say we get right into it. What do you say? Let's go. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is go over the different parts, and I want to get through the old and new styles so you know what I'm talking about. But basically this is your free lock center. The new style, even though it's drilled for a spring and a ball, they're not using it. I don't know why, but they're not using that. The old style is going to have a spring and a ball. So you can see the ball is sticking out here. Now this one was dirty, and there is a spring in there. So if you were going to get into here, what you want to do is pry off this O-ring right here. Be very careful with this, and you can see this one's full of grit and sand. So if you would clean this up and clean out the groove and clean up the ball so that it goes in and out easier, because what you want with your selector is you want to be able to do it by your thumb and fingers. At the end of this, you're going to see what I mean. It really doesn't pay. To have to use tools to turn this is no good. You want to be able to turn this with your hand. If you can't, you're going to have to do what I'm doing here, which is clean it up. So that's the difference between the old and the new. I want you to look at this brand new one that I opened up here. I'm going to spin this. There's very little grease in this side of this hub. This is also called the hub. And I want you to know that Suzukis don't like a lot of grease. Toyotas do. Which brings me to this point. The only difference between a Suzuki Samurai and a Toyota is this part right here. If I put in a part for a larger spline, you can see that that's a small spline. It's a 26 spline. If I change that out to a Toyota, it's just a bigger center hole. If you didn't know how this works, the axle is splined. The axle is going to go in here. This rotates all the time. Rotates if the axle is rotating. If the tire is rotating, the axle is not rotating. And so if you're in, for instance, two-wheel drive, this does not rotate because the axle shafts are not rotating. So this is the coupler that moves in and out. As you can see, it isn't going to engage it. Once you turn it to lock, this is what locks the axle shaft to this gear, to this hub. That's how it works. So when you go to free, it pulls this back, and then this can rotate, or the tire can rotate. It's not locked. So you can just see there, I am spinning the inner spline, which means that the axle shaft is rotating, and this would be the locked position. This is the keeper ring. As you can see, it's pretty fancy. When you start working with yours, if you have twisted tabs or missing tabs, then you're going to want to replace this. I want to point out to you a couple of things. This is the tooth tab, and there's one at 180 degrees opposite. When you look at your hub, the way I like to describe it is you've got teeth, teeth, no teeth, 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 no teeth. So you see that this groove is open here. The reason why that's open is so that this tab right here will go where the no tooth is. So as you can see here, when I drop it in, it isn't going to go this way, it won't go in because the tab is hitting the center. So that tab has to be where there's no teeth, and that will go in. So once you see that, that helps a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to start assembling this. The center hub that goes onto the axle goes in the back. We're going to lock that in there with this clip. Okay, so as you can see, this piece is staying centered, this hub is rotating. This is how it's going to go down the road. The wheel is in free, the axle is not moving. That's my axle right there, my finger. This hub is what goes in and out. When you take a look at this hub, you're going to notice that it has a groove right off of this edge. And it's not on this side because this side's all teeth, so that's the side that's going to go down to engage the teeth inside. So the first step that we need to do is we need to take our pulling spring. This is our pulling spring. See how it wants to pull together. This is our push spring. It wants to push away. So we're going to take and open up the end that does not have the turn on it, the angle. You have to open that up, and you have to start feeding this into the groove of this gear. And you want to go all the way and get all of those teeth behind the spring. This will take a little practice for you, but once you get it, it just slips right in. So we're just going to play with this. Finally got it. Okay. Now that we have that in, we're going to take the keeper ring, and I want you to see that tab that I talked to you about earlier. That is going to end up going between two teeth. It doesn't make any difference what teeth I'm going to put it in, but I want you to see that we've got this angle sticking up. This angle is going to end up coming off of one of these tabs. Doesn't make any difference which one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my closest part, which is, this is what I'm going to do right here, and you can see my angle is not on the back side here. So I'm going to rotate it back just a little, put this back in where it's coming through here, and then I have my tab in the teeth. Now once you have that close, you will take a screwdriver and you will put, I've got to hold that together, you will take this top circle of the spring and you're going to lift it up on top of these two tabs. So I'm going to start with this one first, just bend it up, and then I'm going to rotate it over. I'm going to come over and grab that top spring, and I'm going to pop it over. Now if you take a look, I've got my angle is on the back of the tab. I'm on top of this one, under this one, on top of this little folded tab. Most importantly, what I have is I've got my tab in between my teeth. So now this will drop right in. See that, folks? If it don't go in, then you have it wrong, and here's where it's wrong. A lot of people try to put it back together, and when you push this, it's just going to disassemble it all. So there you go, your tab is on the tooth. We want to go where the tab has no tooth, and when you do that, it will drop right in. Okay, very good. Next step. We're going to go back to the new selector and put it back together. Very little grease on the O-ring. The new ones do not have balls or spring in them. They come in through the back like this, and as you can see, I'm going to check it. Yep, it goes to free to lock, to free to lock. That's how it's working. And so it has a keeper ring, so we're going to snap that keeper ring in. Okay, clip in, check it one more time. Look at how easy that rotates, because it's all nice and clean. It's free to lock. We're almost home. So when you have it this far, and of course this is going to be on the vehicle, mounted, this is getting fun now. So we're going to check and see which side of the push spring fits on here. So we're going to try this one, and that's a nice fit. No slop. If I put it on wrong, as you can see here, I have lots of slop. It moves sideways. It doesn't fit nice. So we're going to put it like that. Now, we know which side's going to go on to the keeper ring. These two tabs that are pointing in are going to be going into these two slots once you get the spring in. So we're going to put the spring in. We're going to put that and get that spring down in there. So that spring is now down inside the hub. And what we're going to do is we're going to push, get those tabs into that slot, and then rotate it until it closes. And watch. And it's going to be in free, because when I go to lock, see that how that works? Free, lock. Free, lock. Moving in and out to engage the axle. So when I put it back, it's going to be in free. I am going to rotate it back all the way. If you have a gasket, put it on. If you don't have a gasket, use silicone. Now I'm going to look and find my tab that's in between the teeth. I'm going to locate it where there is no teeth. I'm going to drop it in. If I did this correctly, it'll go all the way flat. See that? All the way in. I don't have to force it in. I don't have to twist it to go in. My bolt holes are all lined up. Alright, so we're in free. That means that this rotates. I go to lock. This is now one solid locked onto the end of the axle. AISINs, they're the best. Of all of the selectors out there, AISIN by far is the best of all of them. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like it, subscribe to our channel, and thank you very much for watching.